haul of a raw vegan. Like, what does it look like? What does somebody eat in a week? How much does it cost? My name is Skye. I'm a raw vegan. I was sick for 32 years of my life, in bed for about 25, had over 7 major organs removed, had over 60 surgeries, started eating this way, and my whole life changed. Not only did I get my health within just 6 weeks, but I also have a life. I do things, I work, I get on YouTube, I run, about to go to Pilates. I love life. So I get asked so often, like, what do I buy in a week? And I thought it best, as I unpack, I show you what I buy. Now, this week, the plant-based bundle is on. I don't think I can no, I can't put a link here, but I will after this. And the plant-based bundle, 3 of my ebooks are in this bundle at the moment. If you bought these ebooks, they're recipe ebooks. They got pizzas, they got loaded nachos, they've got pancakes, they've got so much in it. If you bought just my ebooks, it would cost over $70. But at the moment, you can get that all for $50. Plus, you can get 80 in total contributions of plant-based ebooks, cookbooks, and 24, I think, raw vegan ebooks. I will put that link in the description after this live. But right now, we are looking at what a raw vegan eats. What have I bought? I've just gone to the farmers markets. So I thought, let me move this out of the way. I thought I'd show you everything. But the reason I wanted to also mention the plant-based bundle is I will be making recipes from the bundle most days, a couple of times, each day maybe even, this week. So this week's haul is extra big. I probably spent an extra maybe $70 this week. In saying that, it doesn't mean that the recipes are expensive. It's that a lot of the time I am going through these ebooks and I'm doing fancy recipes. And I don't eat fancy 3 times a day, every day usually. Usually I might do 1 or 2 times a week, something more fancy. There is like probably dressing recipes, but when I get these bundles, I like to go fancy. All right, so let's start, move some of these things. Okay, let's start first off with my juicing. So I juice because as I mentioned earlier, I have no stomach, no duodenum, top of intestines. I've found since juicing, it gives me hydration, which you'll find people who have parts of their bowel resected really struggle with electrolyte balance. So if you struggle with being thirsty all the time or staying hydrated, you probably have a clogged bowel or gut issues, which many people have. It's, the large intestines, which is that part there where people get bloated, is where the fluid is absorbed. If that's blocked, clogged, or constipated, you'll have problems with absorption. Now, I have found not having a stomach that juicing really helps me. So, yeah, so you green, I've wanted to get into juicing. White women doing healthy food drama. Healthy food drama, I was nearly dead. I've had 7 major organs removed, 60 surgeries. I was in bed for 25 years. I'll give you drama. This is easy. This is like, I don't actually get out of bed unless I eat this way. I end up with mast cell activation syndrome, POTS symptoms, had a congenital disease. I had my stomach removed, as I've mentioned, full hysterectomy. They've taken out tumors, glands, ligaments out of my body. And to eat this way, I live and I'm not in hospital. So I'm very grateful. But back to juicing, I'm about to juice in a second. It is really beneficial. I find keeping electrolyte balanced juices, whether that's a lot of green juice. You get a lot of minerals because when you keep your electrolytes in balance, you want to use like calcium, magnesium, things like that are in leafy greens. So, and somebody who mentioned that I was causing drama has said so sorry. And it's just a reminder, don't judge people. I don't tell anybody what to eat. I'm not here to tell you to eat this way. I'm just here to share that this literally saved my life. Like, you have no idea. I can't even believe no one can believe I'm alive, let alone about to go to Pilates, up early, getting all of this food. And so I share in case somebody out there has tried everything and it resonates, but I never get on, you'll find on my channel, I never get on and tell people what they should do, because my whole life I stayed sick because people told me what to do. So, yeah, I think eating, so someone said, I'd definitely rather eat that way. it's like, it was like, I got to the point where I'd cook, just steam some food, and I couldn't get out of bed, and I had heart palpitations, and my brain said, Skye, you literally live in bed or a hospital or hell. What are you willing to do to be well? Simple answer was just eat the food not cooked, and now I've got this whole life. So let's talk about a couple of things that I buy for juicing. So for juicing, I usually have like 1, possibly 2 juices a day. So for that, I have bought 4 this week, heads of celery. I will use like half a head a day of celery. So I've got 4 heads of celery here. Let me just now move these out of the way. Now, I'm hoping to get on and do my raw vegan popcorn chicken recipe. Yes, popcorn chicken recipe. And in that, the batter for that recipe will be made of cauliflower, and the meat will be made of eggplant. So I've got eggplants and cauliflower. I do have a loaded nachos recipe. I am going to put in the description my link to the plant-based bundle, because you can get all 3 of my ebooks, including 80 full ebooks that are plant-based right now for only $50. It's worth like $2,000, almost $3,000. So anyway, my ebook, I'm going to make a recipe, popcorn, raw vegan popcorn chicken. There's a plum dipping sauce for that too. Now, I got lots of corn because this week, as I mentioned earlier, this week I bought even more food because I am going to be doing more gourmet raw meals for most meals. Usually I only do 1 every couple of days. I'm usually like a salad fruit juice girl, but I'll be doing more recipes this week. So I've got lots of corn. There is corn in that recipe as well, my popcorn chicken recipe, but also there is in the loaded nachos, in quite a few of my recipes. Corn is beautiful raw. What have I got hiding here? Okay, if you saw yesterday, you can have a look at my live yesterday. I made a curry live. You can grab that recipe. Brussels sprouts were in it. It was an Indian butter vegetable recipe. So have you seen hair growth? So or skin related, since eating this way, I lost all my hair. Before, when I started this diet, I had no hair. I had wispy grey bits, and I started eating this way and my hair grew back. It's back now with hair oil in it. I didn't have long hair, I'd lost it. And I started eating this way, it all grew back, and I stopped using products for 3 years. Like, I only used coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, this coconut oil on my skin, apple cider vinegar and rosemary water in my hair, and bicarb in my clothes. My body needed to totally get rid of all allergens to heal. The raw foods was just one part of, and I spent a lot of time outside. So yes, your hair will completely change when you eat this way. It heals everything because it's a generalized inflammation. You're healing the entire body. This concept that I had when I was sick for 32 years, that I had to go to another specialist or a specialist, like a gynecologist for my pelvis, a neurogynecologist, a cardiologist, a gastroenterologist. I had a specialist for everything. And what I realized, and I was at rock bottom. I had FND. I couldn't read, couldn't write, could barely walk. I had just been in neurological hospital, 9 psychiatric hospital visits in 2 years up to this. PTSD, I was falling over. Experts couldn't help me, and I saved my own life with just raw foods. And that's why I share, because in those moments when I healed myself, my mind could not comprehend that I come from a family that is well off, and at that time they weren't talking to me, so I did this all by myself. But they paid all the money they could to get me well, and all I did is break. As soon as I just ate the food, every problem went. Well, I mean, no organs grew back, but I don't have any problems. The only thing I did go back to was hormone replacement therapy, and that's only recently, and that's because I've had a full hysterectomy, including cervix, uterus, ovaries, and I was struggling with joints. So we're getting stiff, and I found I was aging really, really fast. But I don't have any of those organs. I stopped using all the stomach medications. I digest myself now. I do use probiotics and enzymes, which help, but so does everyone. That's not a big deal. It's not from a doctor. So that, I just went off there because it's huge. If you could have seen me, and go back and look on my reels if you can, I can't even stand up because I'd been on a walking stick. I'd been in so much pain. I'd been on 500 milligrams of OxyContin morning and night, a fentanyl patch of 170 on my arm, stomach medication, hormone replacement therapy, in hospital on ketamine for pain, in cardiac units, Botox injected into my pelvis and spine, local anesthetics injected into there. As I've said, all those surgeries, 60 surgeries. I shouldn't be alive. And no one at the end could help me and save my own life. So let's get back to the food, because I could talk about like the miracle of all of this over and over again. So yeah. Okay, so I got half a purple cabbage, and I've got some really yummy recipes in my ebooks, and I'll be making this week that use these as like a taco. I also like to chop this up and I marinate sauces in this and put it in the dehydrator. Like I do some bell pepper, some dates, some maybe miso, and make like ribbons with it and top salads. So love me some purple cabbage, lots of anthocyanins, polyphenols, great stuff for your health. I did Brussels sprouts, I already said. Now I've got some green onions. I use those for everything. Green onions are in many of my recipes. I get herbs. I've got another bag of herbs. I usually juice many of these, and I love fresh herbs in my salad. If I can stress, if you have gut issues, and a lot of people use microgreens in their salad, I find fresh herbs so easy to digest. Amazing. I got some more actually. The guy I get it from didn't have all the herbs I wanted, so I ducked across to another one, and I got some fresh basil and mint. I also, now I probably, as I said, I probably spent an extra $70 to $100 this week because I am going to be creating recipes every day. I usually don't do that. Oh, I love these oyster mushrooms. I actually make a seafood recipe, which is in the plant-based bundle of mine. It's marinated seafood salad, pesto salad. And I chop these, and then I get a bottle top and pop the middle out of the round like scallop, and it makes calamari. So I make raw vegan calamari, I marinate it and put in the dehydrator. Now I did an amazing recipe by Raw Chef Yin, and it was a cashew chicken, and these mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, they literally, the recipe, there's a reel for it on my story. I've already made it. Obsessed. It looks like it was better than anything I'd ever tasted from a restaurant. She is Malaysian. She does amazing Asian raw vegan recipe books. So have you ever used any advice from Barbara O'Neill over your journey? Okay, that's a great question. So when it comes to what Barbara O'Neill says, and I get asked about medical medium all the time, is what I preach and what healed me is so specific to me that as a coach, and when anybody asks me, it's about becoming the animal we were meant to be. So intuitively, animals know what to eat, when to stop eating, when to fast, when to grab water, when to lick a wall with salt. They don't go to nutritionists, they don't go to Barbara O'Neill, they don't go to medical medium. They intuitively know, like their whole family of squirrels or whatever could be eating fruit, and you see one either licking dirt off the ground or maybe eating a grub or something different, because they intuitively know to do that. And if we as humans can reconnect to that, so that means I'm juicing celery and apple. I don't want you to do it. I want you to listen to your body and give your body what it requires. We're so brainwashed. So when you look at Barbara O'Neill and medical medium, there's no room for you to decide what your body needs. They will give you the answer. So most of what she says has no relevance to me in so much as it's not day by day, every day. If you are eating a standard American diet and you eat like the medical medium, or you follow Barbara O'Neill, you will get extremely healthy. But you'll even find people who follow these people, it doesn't stop there. They'll open to a new health journey, and they'll go look at other health experts. But what I want people to do is look inside them more. So if you're being told to eat a certain way by somebody, they've written a book, or they're up there every day saying, if you have this, you need to eat this, you have this, you need to eat this, and you start eating that way, and all you're doing is craving celery. You can't stop thinking about celery. You don't know why, but this expert hasn't mentioned celery, or they're saying stay away from celery until you've done such and such for, I don't know, 40 days. I'm making this up here, but you're actually still fighting with yourself. Like the battle you need to let go of is fighting with yourself and eat what your body wants, and you'd be surprised. Like as you've heard, you guys just heard how sick I am, yet I'm up here creating popcorn chicken out of raw food, which tastes even better and you feel amazing. This all comes from me intuitively listening constantly to my body. Like I may go just 3 days just drinking juice. Where did I get that from? Because I want to. It works for me. That feels good. It feels right. Then all of a sudden, you know, in this community of raw vegans, a lot of people say you should only eat fruit. I did that and ended up with blood sugar issues and low sodium. So I'm back to doing what works for me and I feel absolutely incredible. So when it comes to taking advice from other people, my suggestion is, if it resonates with you, try it, but don't think you're doing wrong if you can't. It's not you can't follow it. It's not for you right now. You may find so there's things like wild yam cream that I do use daily. I saw Barbara O'Neill talk about it. Does it make a huge difference to my life? Not really. It probably makes a small difference. But most of when I healed myself, I couldn't read or write. And when I was at my most educated, I was the most sick. And I think that stands to reason. Like when you are just all analytical, you are going up to apples and you're thinking, oh my God, this person said this. Oh, but I can't do this. Oh, I've had 3 apples today, can't have another one. And before you know it, you're damaged your mental health and you haven't even eaten. Then you eat and you feel miserable. Is if people, when they're really sick, can get away. I was by myself. I had lost everything. I'd been homeless. If you can get into a situation where you're not listening to anyone else. I couldn't read. I couldn't remember things. It was literally I ate the cooked food and felt sick and I went, that is wrong. Ate the raw food, got up and hung the washing out and I'd never done that. And I'm like, well, that is right. It was that simple. Where my whole life I'm reading journals and professors and experts did science at university and it didn't heal me. So when people say there's experts, if something resonates with you, then for sure. But find what works and feels good for you. And I'm not even saying that's raw food. Start with what feels good. And then if you keep doing some smoothie that was making you feel good, it starts to make you feel sick, try something else. Don't think that you got it wrong. Use all of the things that you feel don't work for you as lessons. Okay, I've got to go to Pilates soon, so we need to go through this shopping. All right, so I do get, I think this is like 4 kilos of green apples, and that's all for juicing. So my juice I was going to make, but I'm running out of time here. We'll see how we go. I do love the sweetness of purple onions or red onions. Purple to me. Now, sweet potatoes, I don't have these in summer. They are in some of my recipes. I do a loaded nacho recipe, which has like a mock refried bean, which doesn't have beans in it. It's actually made from sweet potatoes, so it's quite blended. And then it's in the food processor, or I might make some soup with it, but I don't, I know that some people eat them as like chips, cut them up, not I. Okay, let's move this box somewhere across. I will tell you how much all this was at the end. A big head of lettuce, lots of greens, love the greens. Put this over here. I love baby tomatoes. Now, I say this to a lot of people. I have mast cell activation syndrome, and I have it under control now by having magnesium at night, my raw food diet, and omega-3s is all I'm eating at the moment. High omega-3 foods, as in no cashews, no almonds. I'm doing flax and chia because the ratio of 6:3 is really high. Since doing this, I have no symptoms. Histamine symptoms are usually like watery eyes, runny nose, bloating, digestive issues, GERD, rashes, like rashes everywhere, nerve pain. Anyway, the reason I'm saying this is these have higher, everything has histamines in it, but some foods have higher amounts of histamines like tomatoes. But if you get the sweeter tomatoes, they don't seem to affect me and a lot of others who have mast cell activation syndrome. Berries are not in season, but I get them because I find they're the fruit I crave. I love, love, love. I freeze a lot of these. I will just snack on them. Most days I'm snacking on raspberries or blueberries. That's my fruit. That's my go-to fruit. So I'm doing green juices and lots of berries. Now, if I struggle because I have no stomach, when I digest the food dumps straight into the intestine, you get something called dumping syndrome, which spikes blood sugar because there's no slow passage. There's no into the stomach breaks it down and it slowly moves to the next part. It just dumps and I get blood sugar problems. And that was the problem when I tried to do so much fruit. So now what I do is lower sugar fruits because that's what I crave. But as I want, my body needs like some sugar. Things like dates, I will add to what I'm eating so I can control. And see, this is not what I'm telling you to do, but this is what I've discovered has worked for my blood sugar issues, my body's ability to get energy. And yeah, so we've got more blueberries. I think I got this week lots. I usually get about, there's like 4 packets of blueberries and 4 or 5 of raspberries. Yeah, 4 or 5, I think 5 of each this week. And then I get 3 packets of dates and I use them in like chia puddings as well. Now I get citrus. Now I have a little bit of this in my juice. These are histamine liberators. So you can react to you can react to anything. So it's about listening to your body, but I find a little bit each day I'm fine with. So we got that going on there. Let me pack these and we got another box. As I said, I got much more this week because of the plant-based bundle. And make sure you check out, I usually try and, well, I think this week I'll be going live like most days making recipes, but I will be setting up this afternoon or tomorrow on my channel this week's lineup because I've got lots of podcasts. I share my lunch recipes. I do questions and answers. So if you want to like join a live, there's probably lots that you can have a look and join. Oh, konnichiwa. Okay. Now, last box. Now, I don't usually buy papayas. I'm not great with papayas. I know people say they're really good for their gut. For me, they kind of get stuck, but I can have small amounts and I make a really great papaya fry. Or in Australia we call them chips, with some like garlic, salt and stuff in the dehydrator, and they're sweet and they're good for you. They're kind of like sweet potato, but you really have to cook sweet potato to get that texture. So I use papaya. So I'll make some of those this week. The guy had a whole heap of figs. Figs are in season. I wasn't planning to buy them, but I saw them sitting there, a big batch. As for how much these actually were, I actually don't know, but I know they're in season. So hopefully not too much, but I'll tell you how much all of this was soon. Mushrooms. I already showed you some of the mushrooms, but I just get normal like white tap mushrooms, little button mushrooms. Now this is more, okay, every week I get zucchinis because I use these as like zucchini noodles, or I find zucchini and corn blended together with some chia or something to make like an eggy texture in my recipes. So, hey Apple! Yes, I got all this today. I'm showing everyone what I got. And I get ginger. I love ginger. Ginger for your gut. Ginger on my salad, ginger in my juice, ginger in some warm water with lemon. Ginger is great. I love garlic, but sometimes, especially if you have SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is, I won't go into too much right now, but usually you get the bloating. You've got bacteria in the wrong place in your small intestine. Therefore, food is not being broken down higher up. And then when it gets further down, the wrong bacteria is sitting there. You get burping, gas, usually constipation, and a big kind of belly going on. I find garlic, and I do find carrots, and you have to work out what works for you. And sometimes I can have little bits of these, hence why I've got the carrots. But I used to try and have garlic and chili and carrots every day, and wondered why my belly, and papaya, and I was tiny with this big pot belly. And then I realized I was feeding bacteria the wrong food that wasn't digesting properly. But magnesium, enzymes and probiotics do help with that, and having my omega-3 diet. Okay, broccolini. I love broccolini. I do in my recipe ebook, and there's cauliflower there, do like, you know, Erewhon? I think it's in LA. In America, they do a buffalo cauliflower and broccolini or broccoli. I do that, and I'll try and do that this week. Leek is easier on the gut than onion. I've got onion this week because I will be doing some fancier recipes. There's leek in the curry I made yesterday, Go check out that recipe. It's amazing. It's like, as I said earlier, butter curry. I love pink grapefruits, which are also in the recipe I did yesterday. Now I get about 3 kilos of cucumbers. This is juicing again. So I usually juice cucumber, apple, which I want to try and do before Pilates. If I got a chance, I'll do it. I do mint, ginger, lemon, cucumber, green apple, celery. I think that's it. That's what my favorite juice is. So that's why there's lots. I would tell you the breakdown of all of this food, but I will tell you the juicing is probably, I'm spending probably $100 a week. 70 to 100 extra a week on juicing, because juicing's expensive. And also this week I would have spent an extra 70 to 100 because of the plant-based bundle. I want to make lots of recipes, so you guys don't miss out and you can see what's in it. That is it. There was one more. No, that's it. Carrots, which I will make some recipes with this week. So that was a lot of food. So this week, the total for all of that was $400. Usually, I spend $300 a week. Just over 300. But remember, about $100 or $70 of that is juicing. Okay, so you could probably bring it down to, and this is all spray-free, bioavailable. You could probably bring it down to about 200, 220 if you weren't juicing and you weren't a recipe content creator. But also, another like $30 for me, maybe $40, is the fact that I buy berries out of season. So if I got grapes in the fridge still, if I bought only fruits in season, which would be like bananas, which are high histamines, which I'm not tolerable to at the moment, I can have small amounts. Apples I find not satiating enough, and as I said, I'm better with green apples, something not too sweet, and that's the thing, I have to keep not putting anything too sweet in, otherwise I get blood sugar issues. But if you ate in season, like for example, there was a period of time I was doing fruit, and if I just bought like grapes and some greens, it was like $150. So there's different ways you can do it. Now, when I started this, let me set up my juicer while I tell you this. When I started, I was on disability payments. I had no support from family, from friends. I was connected to nobody. And I paid for my rent and food because I knew the food was going to heal me. So you've got to weigh it up. Plus at the start, I wore no makeup. I didn't have my hair done. I had donated clothes, donated furniture, my old computer, my old phone. I paid for my phone Wi-Fi too. You have to weigh up when you heal yourself with anything you bring into your life. What value, where am I going to spend my money? So in truth, I will let go of everything except food and shelter. Like I've been at rock bottom. I know what things are worth, trust me. I sat in a lot of gratitude because I'd been homeless and because I've been so sick. Let me bring this over. So that helps as well. But I was so grateful to feel well. You have no idea how grateful I felt to finally feel well. So when it comes to food, also I healed myself with non-organic food, but I felt so good. I knew eventually, well, this is spray-free, not organic. I knew eventually if I kept putting the food in, I could buy the foods I wanted. So I just bought it from the supermarket and I healed. And yeah, so you've got to work out if you're going to do this. But also I know how much my friends spend on like designer items and dinners on the weekend, takeaway, coffee. I don't have any of that. I mean, a coffee around here is just over $6. And if you get just one a day, that's already $42 in a week. And nobody gets just one a day every day. Most people every now and then grab an extra one. And that's just coffee. That's not the muffin with it or the people grab things at the snack bar. So let's say $50 you've already spent on coffee. Then people usually have takeaway at least once a week. If not, they'll grab a sandwich at work because they're rushed. Maybe they buy their lunch every day. You've got to think where money goes. That's what I say when it comes to this. But I love, I love my food. My food makes me live. It's my everything. So we're going to do this really quickly. This is a Nama juicer. I don't have a code for you, but you can go search it. It's by Nama. It's a J2 juicer. I think Jillian Berry has a code. You can go get her off her. If you want, I think you can get $50 off. These are quite expensive. I didn't get this until I went on my juicing journey, which was about a year ago. But what I did notice, I had an old Breville juicer. What I did notice is most of the product ended up back in here. So I was spending so much on the, the product. I may as well have spent a lot on the juicer. And I'm going to turn this to the side so you can see me kind of like, it's going to fall off. You're running out of space. I've got all these vegetables here. Hang on. Let me move these back. There we go. All right. Running out of space. So move this. We will try and get a little bit of juice and hydration in before I get to Pilates, hey? Yeah. Or maybe I didn't mention when I make my juice I put lemon or lime in it as well. Sometimes a little bit of, what is it called? Jalapeno is really yummy in it as well, but they didn't have any. I find it really hard to get jalapeno. You can get it from the supermarket, but not at the markets often. So, but stay tuned. I may jump on later when I I'm going to try and make my popcorn chicken recipe from the bundle today. But it will take overnight, so I'll just be doing the prep work today. So we'll see how I go, how much time I have. At least I got lots of energy from the food. So we've got some celery in there. We've got, ginger is going in. I'm going to do lime today. There's actually nothing more satisfying after you run out of all your produce by the end of the week, and then you haven't had juice for a couple of days, and then you get fresh, spray-free, homegrown juice. It's amazing. It's amazing. Let me see some of these other. Why do people keep asking this weird question? It must be people who are bots. Hello there. I had a question. Would you rather watch a tree grow? And you probably heard the other side of it. It's like, wait, what? My hair, summer, that way. Okay, I think I've answered everything, which is good. I'm on top of everything. Mint. I should wash this, but I haven't washed it. It's fine. There's actually a lot of prebiotics in. Well, the guy, here's the thing. The guy I get it off, I know him, and he owns his farm, and he washes everything, and he packs my boxes. I don't actually buy it off the market. He brings it up, mine already packed. I pre-order. That's another thing, is if you buy a lot, instead of getting there and panicking that you're going to get all the food for the week, I pre-order. So it's all packaged for me. And he has raw, homegrown nuts as well. And I make my own nut butters. I love it. I love this lifestyle. I can't say anything bad about it. I love this lifestyle, except I've lost the cucumbers. There we go. And some green apple. And I think we're good to go. How are we going? Oh, I'm going to have to run up to Pilates in any second now. Yeah, make sure you check out the plant-based bundle. It isn't fully raw, but there is about 24 ebooks and courses, and as I've said, my 3 ebooks are in it. I'll get a little bit of this juice going so I can have it, and then run to Pilates. I always double strain my juice as well. Something's beeping there. Okay. So I want to put the rest of this in as well. So I make about 1 litre, and what I've found with no stomach is I'm better with anything I eat or drink, like the doctor said, to have small meals each day or just sip on it. Don't eat a full meal, because they took out my stomach, my duodenum and top of intestines. They left a small portion of the stomach, but over time it just dropped. So basically my esophagus connects directly to further down in my intestines. So when I eat a huge meal, it's not good. So, but if you have a look at some of the reels, you'll see how sick, and like I was 37 kilograms. Now I'm like 57 kilograms. I'm 20 kilograms heavier on a raw food diet. So I've got to be doing something right. Cheers. Oh my God. Oh my God, that is so good. It's like being electrically charged. That's so good. It's so fresh. Like, you know when someone eats a salad or a piece of fruit and they go, that was really light and fresh. That's how I feel all the time. Thanks, Apple. Did you get rid of your stove? I actually had a full kitchen built for a raw vegan, because I do the chef and create recipes. It's all raw. I'll do a tour, but I'll probably have to either film that and post it. But I have no oven. I have a dehydrator, which is kind of where the lighting is. I have a big bench where I like prep and show you guys. I have a blender, a juicer, a food processor, and then my fridge is usually stocked, and then I have some fruit and veg up there. But I will do a video, but that's probably going to be nicer if I film it. And then I've just got that set up over there to do podcasts, because I do about 2 or 3 podcasts a day, just sharing more information. Because even when I do podcasts with people who have healed themselves with raw foods or plant-based foods or juices, their journey's never the same. They eat differently, they've done it a different way. So I like to inspire people to take it upon themselves to feel good. Now, is there anything that needs to go straight into the fridge? My berries. I say fridge, but they'll go into the freezer, because raspberries go off really quickly. So I just munch on those. Blueberries are a bit better. Ooh. Also, people always say to me, they're like, you're always on the computer, you're really good with the computer. And I'm like, well, technically most of my life I was in bed on a computer. Wasn't really, so it's connected to any people really. It was just me, my computer, my carers and my parents. So it's quite easy for me to be so connected to people who are raw all over the world and share all of this stuff. Though it's much nicer being healthy, right? I'll put these in the fridge. There, and everything else is just mostly veggies. So, I'll show you guys this. I made these last night. I'm always making food. I made these after I made the curry. I wanted like some protein balls. There's no recipe for these yet. I will make one. They're like truffles, chopped truffles. They're like cacao, peanut protein, oats, maple syrup, vanilla. There was one date I had, and I blended it up. Oh my God, these are so good. And they're raw oats as well. I get raw oats. Yeah, so I'll share that recipe as well soon. But anyway, if you want to make them, that's kind of how I made them. Oh, also they got chia and flax in them because I'm not having nuts. I do have a free truffle recipe, which I can post in the description as well. But it uses nuts, and I'm not having them at the moment. I'm just doing seeds. Anyway, I'm off to Pilates. Love you guys. That's my juice. And I'll be back soon.